Hey everybody, this is Cindy Allen, Editor-in-Chief of Interior Design Magazine. Now, next on Creative Voices, we travel literally around the world and throw it back over a decade with the undisputed king of hospitality. And he's just about the most charismatic man you'll ever meet. This is Tony Chi. Oh, and stick around after because we're going to have a chat with Tony and his daughter, Alison, and what they're up to now.
Actually, I spent a lot of time drawing because I couldn't speak very well when I was a kid. My parents thought I was a mute. I didn't talk till I was 5 years old. So I always using art as a way to communicate with people. So then, of course, when I came here, I couldn't speak very well because I couldn't speak the language. I can go back to my first day in primary school, and the teachers are so nice, so soft-spoken, and pat you in the back. I remember she came to me, greeted me, and hugged me, and bring me around the classroom and keep on asking me something, and I don't know what she was saying. So she gave me a piece of paper, and I took the paper, I wrote down the only thing I know. I wrote to NY, because I sort of see this to NY on the ticket on the at the airport. So I wrote to NY. He said, very good, Tony. There you go. That's how I got the name. Being an interior designer, we tend to create things. We create the intangible part, then using the tangible to envelope it. So it's always about the packaging and the content. This is a perfect example. Ondas is an absolute perfect example. It's not flamboyant. It's never meant to be flamboyant. However, it is a package of soul. I did some work for Fred at the store planning at the Bloomingdale Federated store. Fred Palatinis. I did some work for David Easton, Michael LaRocca. I did some work for Ray Condell, which is a great illustrator for Law & Taylor newspaper. Then eventually I wound up with small firms, Charles Mount. He had a very small office up on the Upper West Side. And in those days, he's got a little small social circle. John Saladino, Joe Durso, those guys. Occasionally you get Juan Montoya stop by, that generation of guys. And they used to come in, Charles always cook, and they always chit-chat, drink wine. I said, oh, gee, this is a good life. I can live with this. Being a young designer, sometimes you don't know what you're doing. You want to do everything. You tend to be more focused, to design great restaurant, you must learn how to eat. If you can't eat, you can't design. So eat. And that sort of opened up a new career for me. I think back in the 80s, the restaurant got bigger. Those days, restaurant just so flamboyant. Then, of course, my cafe society was equally flamboyant. The money was all come from Wall Street. And the Black Monday, I think 514 points later, everybody's out of a job. You learn something. You learn to deal with a good sense of reality. So that's the reason why I went to Asia. When I went out there was nobody out there. And you learn. You only can be a great designer if you get to practice design. If you don't practice design, your design not gonna get better. Really, so I think the 10 years I get to practice design, I draw, I design, I make mistakes, I went through the whole thing. I wanted to have this terrazzo floor with the cobalt blue and green glass chip in the terrazzo floor, and the Japanese contractor looked at me and says, what are you talking about, glass chip? And the Japanese said, nah, no such thing. I said, oh, watch me. Go give me a bottle of Coca-Cola. And I drink the bottle of Coca-Cola and crash the bottle. And he said, here's a green glass. Here, put it in. So the next thing you know, the whole job site is drinking Coca-Cola. That started a relationship with the high end. See, this is the original Park Hyatt Shanghai. Shanghai was an exception opportunity. First of all, it's a Mori building. And they want to build the second tallest building in China, and Bill Peterson, which I love Bill's work. And Bill worked out this wonderful geometry, so pure. And I look at this building, I say, could this building be a landmark one day? And I believe it could. Not every building can, but this one can. You know, and I just want to be part of that landmark building process. I remember the day I went to make the presentation to Mr. Mori. I said, Mr. Mori, and I wrote down one word in Japanese, in kanji, means silence. And they thought, the people around the room, they thought I wanted to be quiet. Or nobody talks. I said, no, you can't talk. So I said, you know, I really want to build silence to contrast the city. You know, because Shanghai is absolutely crazy, you know, with all that traffic. So I say, you know, can you imagine if we create this contrast, then we have the complete cycle of the 24 hours. This is not about creating this theatrical. It's not about that. It's all about creating a form that follows certain function. My interior architecture is always very rigid. It's always based on order, always based on certain geometry. And the reason behind that is I believe in everything in my room will be chaos, including the light coming in, including all you guys are chaos. So everything in the rooms are chaos, and I use that to contain the chaos. So I practice that. So in fact, the design is actually very aggressive. You just don't know it because I work very hard to make sure the design go away. I develop a set of vocabularies in design. And then I take these vocabulary to heart, and I try to understand what it means. I try to know how to use it. Wine wall, what is it? You know, it's wine but not a wall. I'm not a wall person. I can create the wine adjacent to the sommelier, and did I not make his life easier? Architects tend to focus on the outside quite a bit, and they tend to forget looking at things from the inside out. Clients tend to say, oh, you're architect, then you build me a trophy then. The trophy is all about the outside, it's not about the inside. How many trophies do you know that you can actually break and say, oh, what a wonderful material. I can tell you one story with a recent experience when all the architects looking at the mock-up curtain wall, full-size curtain wall, they're all looking, admiring the beautiful detail, the beautiful fabrication, and I'm only yo-yo in the back of this curtain wall looking at it from the back because, you know, that's my room.
How did it look?
Well, it didn't look very well. You know, design is a way of life. It's not a profession. It's not a tool. It's a philosophy. You use it to guide a way of life. You know, I have this conversation with another colleague in our industry. He says to me, I do what I do because I want what I want. I say, I do what I do because this is what I want. You know, and then there's a big difference. This is all I know. I always want to be expressive. You know, it's almost like composing a wonderful symphony, and nobody can hear it but me. And I do hear it every day, and I like it. I like what I'm hearing.
How do you get your way, Tony?
It's not a matter of my way. I will say one thing is you have a better way. If you don't have a better way, then I think my way is the best way. But if you have a better way, I'm happy to hear it. You know, I could be wrong, but under the circumstances, here's a one option, and what is yours? Let's look at it. If it's nothing better than this, then this is the way we go.
Hey everybody, this is Cindy Allen, Editor-in-Chief of Interior Design Magazine, and we are so fortunate to have a big family with us today, right? In two different parts of the world, we have our undisputed king of hospitality, Tony G, and his beautiful daughter, Alison. And so tell me where both of you are right now.
Sure, Alison. Home base is New York for you.
Yeah, I'm here in West Village, Manhattan, just holding down the fort. Most of our studio is based here. We've got a few up in the Bronx and Connecticut, more or less online and remote. So we're all anchored here in New York.
Mm.
Well, I am in this little tiny village called Taipei.
Wow.
Where I was transiting and I got stuck, put into quarantine, and today is my day 32.
Wow.
That's unbelievable, Tony. So there is a backstory, right, Alison? Because, well, first of all, we want everyone to know that design is in the family, right?
Yes.
And I love seeing the next generation. It's amazing, Alison. But tell us, because you were about to go meet your dad, right?
Yeah, no, I think pretty much in the beginning of February is where things started turning. I was supposed to meet him in London, and he was in Asia, so he was going to meet me in Europe. Then I was going to continue on with him in Asia, and then he had plans to come back to Europe. So once the situation sort of evolved, I decided to just cancel all plans, stay in New York until we had more information, and so I've been here ever since. So we've been trying to support, my dad has been in Asia, so he's been sort of anchoring all the projects there. It's been challenging, just being able to support him. He's on his own there with the team. So it's definitely something that we didn't expect, but I think, we're positive. It's been going surprisingly well. It's an evolving experience, but I think that it's surprisingly viable. So we're happy about that.
And Tony, we always think of you, or at least I always think of you, like, where in the world is Tony these days? Like, because you definitely are the most global traveler I think I've ever met, from way back. It's not like now people are traveling, but now people travel for projects all over. But you have been for decades, correct?
Well, I got an itchy feet. What do you expect? Well, lucky me, right? I don't know how to stand still, but regardless, I got actually pretty lucky on this trip. I took off in January, and I figured, I knew about this, some kind of thing going on in China at that time of the early stage. And I said, I'm gonna go there, just get things off the ground. And I did. And I think that was on the 18th of January. And I bought out just in time. Then I went to India. Then I went to Singapore. Then I went to Bangkok. By the time I came back to Taipei, and that was it. My luck ran out.
Oh, yeah. But you're in your apartment, right? Tell everybody, that is your apartment, right?
Yeah. Lucky me. Tammy built a lovely apartment for us, based in Asia. It's sort of like a hub, because we travel so much and we stay in the hotel quite often. And often that you miss your bed. So we sort of brought our bed with us and permanently based. One of the reasons why we're here in Taipei, it is the most remote, centrally located, perfectly connected, to New York, to Tokyo, to Kyoto, where our project was, to Hong Kong. So all that's all connected within, no exaggeration, 75 minutes away.
Wow.
So we did the apartment here many years ago. And we fly to Taipei, we overnight, climatize our body and mind, then we're off to wherever we are. So lucky that we had this. If I didn't, can you imagine, Cindy? I would be stuck in the hotel for 32 days.
I can't imagine. I actually remember when you were getting this apartment. This was like a very, very long time ago. For those of you just joining us, we're with Tony Chi and his daughter Alison, and Tammy is your amazing wife, and she's the one who put the apartment together, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So anyhow, I'm lucky here. It is Friday night. It has been a long week. It has been a very long week. Working still. I can't believe the world's not shutting down yet.
So Tony, your clients are global clients. How are they doing, and how are you communicating with them? What's happening? Obviously, the hospitality world just got hit in such a big way.
Well, yeah, this is probably the first time ever that we have such a mega setback. However, we're lucky that our clients, some of them actually took this opportunity to progress further. They figure if it's down, hotels are empty, and they might as well go ahead. So actually, some of the project actually accelerated more than before.
Wow.
I came back from Singapore. I stayed there for a week. The owner basically said, what if we do this? What if we do that? Let's just expand the work. Let's just get this thing done. Let's get this out of the way. That's wonderful, isn't it?
That's amazing. That's amazing. And you're the type of person also who can make it happen. You probably told them that's what they needed to do. And they said, okay, whatever you want.
No, actually, you know what? This is all about believing in something, right?
Yes.
We all still believing in our infrastructure. We're believing in our society. We're believing in our country. We're absolutely believing in our industry. Okay? So this is only going to make us better and stronger. Hospitality, the same. These guys cannot do without us in the design industry. okay? And we need them as well. So it's a hand in the glove. And I think in this case, I think everyone sees the same goal. You know, of course, there are projects sort of, you know, suffer quite a bit financially. But I think it's going to turn. I think it will turn for them.
Yeah. And Alison, you being the next generation, right? Technology's got to play a huge role in being able to support these projects and even support Tony when he's off by himself drinking the wine in his apartment.
No, I mean, you're absolutely right. I think that, you know, we've always been a very international firm from day one. And before, you know, as an infant, we were sort of always on the road. But I think that in today's world, you know, leveraging technology in a way that works for us is the most important thing. Like, there's so much happening, and so quickly you're jumping from one platform to the next. But I think it really allowed us to figure out what our processes were and are, and how can we leverage, you know, even low tech, but manage it so that we can actually do our work and do our work thoroughly and properly and at the pace that we feel comfortable with. And more importantly, to bring our partners, whether it's our vendors, suppliers, our clients on board with us. So, you know, it's been a really sort of smooth transition for us, just because, you know, we tried to anticipate it to the best that we could. We did some like internal workshops in the studio where everyone found like a different nook and then like dialed in. So we tested all the platforms. And so since we've been moving offline or online and out of the studio, it's actually been very productive for us. And, you know, we're treating it as if we're still together. The culture is strong. And I think that remaining positive and staying positive is the most important thing for us.
Yeah, I would imagine, Tony, you were ahead of the curve, being so close to projects in China, knowing that this was going to affect and ripple down.
Well, you know, we have been out here since I was probably 35 years now. So we've seen the ups, we've seen the down. I think what is important is, of course, you know, we don't do the volume work. We do very selectively with some of the clients, certain type of work. And the work we do is about having the sustainability, just like the work, you know, you broadcast, right? Now, how do we do something is not temporary? How do we have a client that is not temporary? How do we build a design that's not temporary? And how do we build the clientele that can have a heritage transferring, right, to the next generation? And that's not temporary. So I think if you keep that in mind, that can sustain anything, right? Even though we have had recession in the past, we had 9/11, we had 2008. You know, we had those things, but this time maybe a little bit different. But you know, at the end of the day, it's all about the you know, their intention. And I think most of our clients, lucky us, that their intention is always in the goodwill. They are in the long haul. They're not there just to flip the coin. Right. And then that's great for us, and that's great for them. I mean, the question here is come down to something that for us to realize, how do we hold everyone together? I'm not in this by myself. Don't forget, we have team. Today, this is my my number 6 video conference call.
Your favorite one, though. It's your favorite. It's
my favorite. You know what? Absolutely. Yes. We keep the best at last. Cindy,
exactly.
You are the icing on the cake. Come on. You know, you will absolutely put me to a wonderful sleep tonight. But today, I think, you know, very seldom I'm trying to hold the team together. You know, today in the conference call, everybody locked down. The latest news today by the Prime Minister in Singapore decided to lock down the city. So that means all jobs need to stop today officially. So meanwhile, we have over 400-500 staff, people on the site building it. And now they all have to go home. So today was discussing about, what do we do tomorrow? I mean, they're gonna wake up tomorrow, they're not coming to work, right? So one of the meetings today I went through today at 4:00, and I said, you know, how do I keep this promise ongoing? And then the client absolutely will keep it going. But this is not up to the client. This is up to the country lockdown.
Right.
But you know me, I'm so highly spirited. I'm jumping, doing the song, the dance, and at least give them a upside. Right. As I say, guys, it's just temporary, but we still have the video conferencing. We still can talk about issues. I mean, today we had, Cindy, we had Venice on the call. We had Milan on the call. Now we have Mike Gracie just before that. We're all on the call. So that means all the partners from all over the world are all part of this. Right? So I think that is a very hopeful thing, you know. And I was telling everyone, I said, you know, I'm talking to Cindy tonight.
Yeah.
You know? Right?
Keep them positive. You have to keep them positive. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, and I think that, of course, they announced it today at 4/4/20 that Prime Minister locked down the country, everything must stop. You know, I can see everyone's face in the conference room, you know?
Oh my God.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. So we have to keep this thing highly spirited. I think everything we do and everything they are doing, everything you are doing, we're not here just somehow putting the Band-Aid over any wound. We here basically just have a collective reflection, right? Look at what we did and look at what we're going to do. And I think, you know, whether it's 2020 is a washout, it doesn't really matter, right? As far as we are concerned, the project, based on my project in Singapore at this point, we're not moving the goalposts back. We are opening in September, right? And imagine this, Cindy, no one even knows September will be any customer come to visit Singapore or not, but we're still on that September schedule.
Is this
that's pretty out there.
Is this with Rosewood?
Oh, this one, no, actually this one is not. This is one with the Pontiac. They own the Ritz-Carlton Singapore. So this is the Ritz-Carlton Singapore renovation project, which we're redoing the lobby, we're redoing the restaurants, we're doing the meeting facilities, we're doing a new bar for them. So and we're doing a new garden, right? So it's a pretty mega opening for September. And don't forget, September also is the Formula One for Singapore, right? So all this thing, so far, we're not erasing that out of our ball game, and we still anticipate September we will resume, right? Maybe we'll resume stronger. We will resume as a better people, I suppose, right? So in this case, people that are actually working on the job, not just me alone, but everyone else, right? How do we keep their hope going, right? We don't want them to feel like, oh, you know, the job's gonna stop. Right? We actually don't want them to feel that way.
No.
You
have to lead the way you're moving in a positive direction. And you are a leader. Like, people listen to you. You know, you have that. You have that talent. No, you have a conviction. That's it. Your conviction is like that.
No, you know why? Because we do one job at a time, right? If I don't do this, then I have no jobs. You know, when I remember on January 18th, I went to Shanghai, which we're building a 4,000 square meter, which is 40,000 square feet home. And I said, you know, this is right before the Chinese New Year. Let me just get the project off the ground. I never thought about this epidemic issue. It was none of those issues. I just want to get the project off the ground before the Chinese New Year. I mean, lucky I did that. And I tell you, you know, Cindy, I even organized this. Said, guys, after Chinese New Year, I want to have a meeting in Lake Iseo. That's outside of Milan by 50 minutes to go visit our window fabricator in Italy. So I want the entire project team to be in Italy with me. Then I want to take them to Verona for a week to see my favorite Carlo Scappa. I mean, all that was planned.
Yeah, it was planned.
It was planned. Yeah, but now it's all up in smoke.
Yeah. Now I want to talk about Rosewood because they're also a multi-generational company. And Alison, you're coming in as the daughter, right? And I understand there's great advantage. I feel like there's great advantage to your office. You have people who've been there their entire career, Tony, and then you have a next generation coming up. So what is that like? And tell us why that is an advantage.
Well, I think that the most important thing for us was really recognizing our strengths. I think, you know, with my dad being such a strong leader and having such a strong voice, I think our sense of identity has always been very strong, and it's centered around him and around his philosophy. But I think our efforts now, which I'm sort of taking the lead on, is to really be able to distill from that and to be able to understand how we can really formulate a multidisciplinary one team firm that, you know, has associates that's been with him for their entire careers, as you had just mentioned, but also to onboard young talent that I can hopefully bridge to communication. You know, communication is such an important thing that's so challenging nowadays. Things are moving so quickly. People are so easily misunderstood that, you know, I think leveraging technology, leveraging, you know, those that are in sort of in between generations, to be able to have conversations with both sides in a very frank, honest way. And I think that sort of compassion and that sort of transparency is important to better understand each other. And you know, our goal as a firm is to really be able to be a strong brand that represents sort of some sense of integrity within the industry. And, you know, we really want to be able to bring and nurture young designers that can join us and to really find that sort of integrity in their own work, and find the studio as a place that has that practices that level of fine quality, but also practices being good, you know, to develop yourself as a human and to be a well-rounded designer, a well-rounded person. You know, I think I reflect from the experience that we have right now. You know, I think the fact that we're all grounded in our homes is really interesting for how that would impact our industry as interior design. You know, I think our homes and houses have really become these machines that, you know, we do operate in. You know, everyone is now figuring out that their houses are not working for them. So there's going to be this sense of like real life experiences that will give them, by them I mean everybody, a stronger vocabulary to talk about interior design. I think that will be really helpful for us as we're in hospitality, residential design, to be able to have this conversation of how do you live in your own home? How does it serve you? How do you serve it? And how do you design for that? So that's something that I think we're really interested in as a studio.
It's so true. We're in our weekend house, and now we literally are taking a one bedroom and turning it into an office. And I'm like, oh my God, I need an office chair.
I mean,
Tony, what?
No, the hardest thing is actually to prevent myself from getting up and start moving things around, because I'll be like at my computer, I'm like, I really need to reorganize my drawer right now. Like, you know, I have to prevent myself from doing that. But I you know, that's good experience. You know, that's what it is. You know, that hands-on experience is what we do. So I think that's really exciting.
Yeah, and so I see here that I just wanted to bring up Rosewood because they're also multi-generational. So are you guys dealing with the younger folks moving up into that business?
Yeah, I mean,
you know, let me highlight this one, Alison. Let me say this, okay? You know, I need to learn how to tone down my volume, okay? I need to learn how to tone down my existence in many ways. You know, all my clients were generation families, okay? And I do their home, and I did their home, I maintain their home, and I work with their grandfather, I work for their father, I work for their grandchildren now. So I'm encountering all three generations so far. I mean, Rosewood, for example, we're working with Sonia. Sonia is the third generation. Her grandfather and I worked together 32 years ago.
That's
Henry,
insane.
her father and I worked together for I don't know, for donkey years. And her mother, when she was building the family compound in Hong Kong with 9 houses, and of course Tammy and myself and Bill, we worked on that house for 9 years, 2 houses for 9 years, right? Now, of course, Sonia she was a kid. They used to call me Uncle Tony, but now she's the chairman of the board. You know, so. So somehow
change, Tony.
Hey, you know what, Cindy? I tell you, I have to learn this, right? I used to walk into the meeting room, feel, yeah, I own it. Yeah, it's my call. It's my voice. It's my design. It is my job. And I can't do that. You know, I gotta find room for them. So that took a while to learn. I mean, I actually learned from Sonia's father, right? I mean, they own the Rosewood, right? I mean, the story actually quite funny. You know, Sonia came back from Harvard, and she said, I don't want to run a family business, but I like to run a hotel company. So her father basically said, fine, you do your hotel things, right? I was there, and I was there from day one. So the dad says, Tony, you will help my daughter to build her brand. So I remember myself, Robert Louis, were designing a brand, and she wanted to be, I mean, very first originated brand from Asia, right? And she called it the Mulberry, you know? And she actually spent a lot of effort developing it with us until her father figured all out, that, you know, sweetheart, it's easier to buy a brand. So he bought the Rosewood for her. On her
nice
birthday,
life,
right?
nice life.
A nice life, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I started, you know. But I remember when I first started, she complained. The first job was London, and I was bullying. I was like,
Didn't
this
like
is my
you.
job.
She didn't like you.
No, it was my job, right? So I was formulating the Rosewood. I was building it. I was designing it. And her mother came. I remember that day very well. Her mother came and she complained it. She said, Mom, Tony won't listen to me. Then her mother says, well, she won't listen to me either.
Shocking. It's all very shocking.
No, seriously, Cindy, I tell you, I woke up and I absolutely think that, yes, I never realized time flies. Yeah. You gotta give them some space. So I since then, that was what, I don't know, since London opening, I tried to tone it down. I try to back off a little bit. Alison wrap up the Hong Kong, which is the grand finale, right? For the Rosewood. It took her, I don't know how long it took you, Alison? Almost 2 years, right? Going to Hong Kong every month.
Do you think he's, because I love how he said, I got to tone it down, but Alison, let me say this first, okay?
No, you know, it's we're working on it.
Process. It's a process.
Yeah, to his point, you know, it's not an easy thing. Whether it's the Sonia's family and the Rosewood family, or it's even the Singapore family, you know, that there are also 3 generations.
Right.
I've had conversations with both younger generations, and which, you know, words like we're transitioning, we're transforming, you know, we have this conversation, but it's not something you can rush. And I think, and, you know, my opinion about it has always just been, you know, every generation, every side of every conversation wants to be heard, you know, but I think it starts with, you know, equal compassion, equal respect for each other's point of views. I think in the world that was, you know, in the past, it was very much sort of, you know, as you gain in your life, as you get older, you know, it was very sort of one direction. But I think today in the world that we live in, especially the fact that we're all connected digitally, you know, you have 18-year-olds that impress the socks off of me, you know, and you have 65-year-olds that are still learning, and, you know, it doesn't really quite matter. But I think it's about, you know, making an extra effort to understand each other and to be able to say what you mean, and really stand behind it. So yeah, I think that whether it's the Singapore family or the Hong Kong family, you know, that what they've done is impressive, you know, like how they've been able to pivot and to apply their strongest assets to create something for the new world and hopefully a better world is incredibly impressive. And I highly respect what they've done. I think Sonia is really, really innovative in what she's done with Rosewood brand. We're really fortunate to be able to be part of that journey with them. And I'm looking forward to seeing, you know, what will come in our world, because everything is sort of mashing up, whether it's media, whether it's design, you know, everything is sort of one narrative now. So yeah, I'm really excited for that. So
Tony, your daughter's pretty impressive, huh? What do you think about her?
Well, listen, I'm not talking. I'm all zipped.
There you go. There you go.
No, it's good. You know, it's you know, my mother has always been sort of this rock for us. I think my dad and I are very similar, very similar personalities. So, you know, my mother is sort of like, you know, sideline refereeing on both sides. So, you know, yeah, we're really fortunate to have her. But yeah, no, even what you're doing with these interviews online, I think it's an amazing commitment, and, you know, thank you for doing that. I've watched a few of them these past few days and leading up to this conversation, and it's great information. I think it's great for our industry. It's exciting for those that are, you know, friends of mine that don't know about our industry. It's a platform that they're familiar with,
right?
And so it's easy to understand. So I think that's really cool.
You know, Tony, you know, when we started to do this, thinking about hospitality, it was like, well, we got to reach out to Tony. Like, you know, bar none, you're somebody that, you know, has the voice. And I'm really happy to see the family bit, you know, because I think of like when I was in your office, how even everyone eats together, like that kind of family connection is so beautiful. You see it in the work, you see it in the companies that you work for, and it's really a special place to be, and we honor you because of that, Tony.
No, thank you so much, Cindy. Listen, we are the biggest pain in the butt in our voices as well. But at least fundamentally, we are a true believer and a believer in the hospitality, right? With your effort, we built amazing cathedral one day. But without you, we can only build a little chapel, right? So the reality of it is all come down to the hospitality. And Cindy, the fact is, with this pandemic issue, that really allow us to think about what Alison said before. Now we all have to somehow reflect how we work at home, right? A lot of us never take our home or taking our home for granted.
Right.
But now you're looking at our home as something we always talked about, right? You always start your hospitality from home,
right.
You know? Now, in the future, do you really need to somehow go to work in the office anymore? You can more or less work anywhere, more or less, right? So we're still able to be connected, not physically, but mentally. You know, through the technology, let's say you can be in the country, I can be in another part of the world. We are absolutely connected from heart to heart. I think this will change our world completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of like when is remote the answer and when is the connection, the physical connection the answer? And they probably have more meaning when we get it right, right? I'm closing an issue today. It will be the first issue I've ever closed in 20 years remotely. I don't like it. That's hard. The end piece is hard because I won't physically see the last pages physically. But we're doing it, and the team's amazing.
To your point, on I think the family values bit is one of the reasons why I think we've been able to transition into this remote style of working, fairly smoothly. I think it's, with family values for us, it's really about, that's the way we communicate.
Well, listen, thanks so much. I'm so happy that
Thank
both
you.
of you, from all over the world, we're all together, right? And we look up to you, and
thank you.
Respect you so much, and we know that you'll help us get through.
Thank you. No, you're leading us all. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Lots of love, you guys.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
Love you, Alison. Bye.
Yeah. Love everyone. Bye.